Call the meeting to order. We'll go ahead and start with the prayer led by Mr. Caudell, as well as the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Dear Lord, please be with the council and everyone tonight and help guide us in making good decisions for the county. Please be with any first responders, utility workers as they pick up from the remnants of this storm. Thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming out on such a wicked weather night for sure, and hopefully everybody's careful on the way home for tree limbs and debris on the road, as well as the puddles. We'll go ahead and do a roll call, please.
Rankle.
Here.
Caudell.
Here.
Hicks.
Here.
Kitts.
Here.
Lemming.
Here.
McWhirter. I know he's gone. Scott.
Yeah, he had sent me an email or text that he wasn't going to make it tonight. All right, next item on the agenda, we have the auditor's report.
You have your general fund balance, your health insurance fund balance. I've also given you the spring settlement form 22 for the county to show collections and disbursements for spring. Do you have any questions?
Or the only thing I wondered on that spring settlement form was just, as a comparison to the prior year, but that's okay.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't
No,
have
you're
that
fine.
information.
Yeah, no, you're good. Okay. All right. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from our meeting that we had on Wednesday, May 21st.
So
All right, motion by Mr. Brinkle,
second.
second by Mr. Caudell to approve the minutes. Anybody have anything else related to those minutes, changes or anything? All right. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. All right. Minutes are approved. Next item on our agenda, we have Grant County Public Defender, Mr. Bruce Elliott.
Thank you. Good evening. We have made a request to the Public Defender's Office here to have one of our current public defenders that maintains a private practice to become a full-time public defender. Myself, Mr. Drook, who is the Chief Deputy Public Defender, we're both full-time. We're asking, and we have a commitment from a third PD that he would come on as a full-time public defender. We are asking that salary be set in accordance with the prosecutor's office salary, and we're asking for $105,000 and $50 for that position. This public defender that we've talked to and received this commitment from is currently receiving benefits from the county. There would be no added costs benefit-wise. Other thing that I would like to address concerning our current situation, until very recently we were 3 public defenders down. We had 2 public defenders recently leave and return to Fort Wayne or to Allen County. We got in a bit of a situation a few years back when Judge Kenworthy went on to the Court of Appeals. It was like a domino effect after that. Bridget Faust, one of our public defenders, was appointed by the governor to become judge. Then there was a an election between Bridget Faust and Nathan Meeks, another one of our public defenders. Nathan, of course, won that election. After becoming a judge now in Superior Court 2, he's taken another public defender from us, Tom Lawson, who is now in the juvenile court. So in that process, we were down 3 public defenders, which has really made it difficult to scramble and keep in compliance with our case numbers. We've done the best we can with that. Recently, we were able to hire Tracy Carrillo as a trial public defender, and she has started her job in Superior Court 1. One of the reasons we are requesting for another public defender to go full-time is that public defender will be able to take additional cases as a full-time public defender. He's not able to do that in his current role. He's able to take a set number as a trial PD, depending on what the charges are. And he also has a contract as a what we call a super PD to do appellate work and conflict cases and murder cases. I would answer any questions you might have about why we're making this request, or anything that you have in that regard. We've certainly, over the last several months, as we've been down 3 public defenders, that's money the county has saved. We've not been paying out those 3 positions. So we think there is money in the existing budget for this.
And presently, this person is a part-time public defender?
He's part-time. He does a trial PD work, and then he's also on contract as a super PD doing appellate work and conflict cases and murder cases. His current salary is $55,000 as a trial PD, $22,500 as a contract as a super PD.
So would the person still be paid as a super PD even though they're a full-time?
He would not.
Okay. So it's maybe a $23,000
Yes.
increase and somebody's going full-time.
And the other part of that I think is significant, if we stay within our numbers with the state, then we'll get a 40% reimbursement for that additional amount of money.
So you're currently 3 down, is that?
We are 2 down now. We were able to fill the 1 position just in the last month. Now, the other part of this is I sent over a letter asking for this hearing tonight, is with an added full-time PD, we'll likely need to hire additional staff. We have not asked for that at this point, as we were not sure what your decision would be to have this individual turn into a full-time PD. But that would be an ask that would come later if this is approved. Whether it would be full-time or part-time, we don't know at this point, for the secretarial help.
Well, I think that at some point we went back to the budget here, right? This is what's budgeted for this year.
Yes.
And you're saying that the 150 is what you're asking for?
Not 150, it's 105.
105.
Right.
And we had a deputy chief budgeted in the system, right?
That's Mr. Drucke is here, yes.
So we have that filled,
That's correct.
and you've added a PD, you've lost a PD, so we're down 2.
We lost 3 PDs, but we are currently at 2. Yeah.
And the ask is to make another person full-time at 105.
Yes. And about that ask, this is something that I know Joe Lewis, myself, Joe is our board president, as we were negotiating our budgets in the prior years, several members had discussed the possibility of adding additional full-time public defenders. And it's along those lines that we're making this request.
Yeah, I mean, I was in on that conversation.
Right.
And I recall it, and that was a concern, was if we add another one, do we add another secretary? I mean, at what point are we all full-time and we're just an arm of the prosecutor's office? We're both full-time and we're covering it all at that point.
Well, we're certainly not an arm of the prosecutor's office, but again, this, in the long run, and I can't certainly guarantee you this, but if this position is filled, and this is budgeted, then it's possible we won't have to fill both those existing slots that are open. Now, I'm not going to tell you we won't have to fill one of them, but I know there is an employment freeze currently. Certainly before we'd be able to do that, I'd have to come before you and make that request.
Yeah, I guess my recommendation to the council is to give everybody a chance to catch up, to make sure we're on the same page, because I thought we were just updating your salary ordinance, so that, what you're telling me is completely new to what I was thinking.
Right, the letter that he submitted was to be on the agenda for July, so it's just a month early.
I guess I'd like to see some numbers. I mean, I know if he was here, that's exactly what he's gonna say. I'm not disagreeing with you. If you're gonna take away two and you're gonna add one full-time, I don't think we're out of the 25 budget at all. But I'd still like to make sure before I go, hey, let's do this.
Yeah, I'll be happy to provide whatever numbers you need. I likely have whatever numbers you need right now.
That's just my thought.
Appreciate it.
Because you're 2 weeks, I'm going to say about 2 weeks away from that hiring freeze, so that if you are down a position, that it would have to come back through the council in order to get that person hired, as well as an assistant. If you're going to add an assistant, I would just hope that it's not a, kind of a string along request where, or you had a pretty good idea whether or not you're going to need another assistant based on the volume of work that this additional public defender would do, stepping up to full-time. But yet the staffing that you had before was only one full-time secretary for all of the public defenders that you had, if they were staffed.
And in all candor, staffing is calculated in with the Public Defender Commission. In other words, if we do not have adequate staffing, then we're not able as full-time public defenders to take the full amount of cases. So staffing is important. At this juncture, I don't know if we can get away with part-time staffing, another part-time person, or if it's going to require for full refund for the full 40% and all our full caseload, that'd be a full-time. We don't know that yet.
The other thing, I guess, kind of in your presentation, were you acknowledging some type of maybe slowdown of the court system due to public defenders, or no? Because you were down public defenders, or no?
Well, I know Mr. Druck can speak on that, and Mr. Glickfield as well. It certainly has not slowed down for the public defenders. If anything, it's increased because we are working undermanned. We are doing the job, we're getting the job done, but we're at our limits. And that's why we're here.
I may point out, the judges are having to hold off. They're stalling cases as we're getting towards the end of the quarter because everybody's public defender numbers have been met. So they're waiting until the end of the month before they'll appoint someone a public defender. So actually, it is slowing down progress.
The judges aren't stalling it. They've assigned the public defender's office to assign a public defender to a case. We can't do it until July 1st.
Yeah, that's more accurate than the way I said it. It's not the judges doing it, it's the numbers.
Our numbers are preventing us from assigning public defenders at this point.
This to me is another one of those critical areas if we're talking about the criminal justice system and trying to speed up cases and all this stuff. And we could add a full-time public defender for $23,000 who's currently already being paid by the county. I think before the hiring freeze, this is a no-brainer. You just go with it and you try to speed up the process over there. I don't think we should hinder the criminal justice system over $23,000. That's my opinion.
The other question that I have, this person then, if they are full-time, then they're really full-time, they no longer have a private practice?
Yeah, that we would allow, in the past, what we've allowed is the person to wind down their practice. And that's what we would do here. Yeah. They would not be taking new cases, new private cases.
What is a part-time caseload versus a full-time caseload? Can you help me understand that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And again, it's dependent upon the level of felony or misdemeanor. I can give you a good example. A level 6 felony is the lowest felony. And typically, if the individual is only receiving level 6 appointments, then he can take or she can take 25 of those level 6 cases in a quarter
As a full-time?
as a part-time.
Part-time. So what can a full-time person take?
Again, it depends on the level of cases. This individual would be taking murder cases as well as high-level felony cases.
You said 25 level 6
Yep.
at part-time, so how many level 6 could you take at full-time? 50? Is that?
Probably a little less than that.
Okay. So we're talking about 25% salary increase for potentially a 50% or 100% increase in cases? Is that a fair assumption or not?
No, I see where you're going, and
I'm looking at productivity versus cost, essentially.
it's going to allow if this appointment happens, it's going to allow this individual to work many more cases than he's currently able to work. I can't put a number on that, but it's going to be a significant number.
Yeah, I guess I would acknowledge, as Mr. Leeming has, is that there was a little bit of a confusion over what this request was, the salary amendment. I was thinking it was only something else, as opposed to adding a full-time. But at this time, I don't know if anybody else has any questions. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that we honor Mr. Elliott's request to take one part-time PD and turn him into a full-time position.
Thank you, Mr. Brackle. Do we have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
All right, a second by Mr. Hicks. Do we have any other further discussion? Do we have any public comments? Anything from our attorney who works in this area?
And just remember that the 25,000 difference, 40% of that's gonna be reimbursable, so it actually knocks it down to, it's 60% of 25 is the actual hit. And the reason Mr. Elliott is stating that it's hard to give an exact number is because all the felonies are weighted, so it's difficult to say. But when he says a substantial increase in cases, it will absolutely help greatly for the amount of little extra money that you're spending on this. Plus, it's a very experienced attorney who can handle any type of case, which there's only a handful of us around anymore who could do that. We have a lot of younger attorneys who just don't, according to the system, to do level 5s, you have to have 1 year experience and jury,
Two jury
and
trials.
then to go above that, you have to have 2 years experience and 3 jury trials. So we have some younger people that are just, they're not there yet, but hopefully as time goes by, they'll get there. And then Mr. Elliott will have a fully experienced staff.
Our most recent hire, Tracy Carrillo, we're lucky to get her. She practices primarily in Madison County. She has 8 years of criminal trial experience, so we're very fortunate to get her. This individual we're talking about for the 3rd full-time position, I think I said in my letter, has more experience than the current prosecutor and the one of the chief deputy prosecutors combined. So he's well experienced.
All right.
I guess the other thing to add is there's no people to hire on the horizon either. Mr. Elliott will tell you that. There's no one to hire. Even if he wanted to hire someone and bring it to you, there's no one out there, no resumes, no nothing to do it. So it might be quite a while before those positions, he could even be in a position to come back and ask you.
Yeah, I mean, legal.
I mean, you know, you're in the legal community.
Legal deserts are real.
Yes.
So, yeah. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and vote on this, and we'll say, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same side.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the health
Hold on,
department.
hold on. The actual item that should have been
Yes.
addressed tonight is the increase to the public defender chief.
Okay,
Which
because
is
this
the
is
letter
saying
that was in here.
salary amendment, county general fund.
Right.
Okay.
You need to make an effective date to limit.
We dealt with that last.
I thought we did too. I'll check in my minutes.
So that discrepancy, we didn't deal with that last meeting? I thought we did.
Okay.
No, because it was requested as an additional appropriation, so I was holding it so that I could talk to you to get an amount to advertise for the July meeting, so we were just a step ahead.
Then we certainly wait for them back, right? Has to be ordinance, salary ordinance, blah, blah, blah.
So really, the only thing we can really vote on is the $300 amendment then.
But you
Is that
can
what you're
vote on it,
saying?
it just
I mean-
means that has to be advertised.
Still gotta advertise and bring it back.
And pass it.
Yeah. Okay,
I mean, it gives him the right to go after that person.
right.
Well,
Right,
since he
July
hasn't
1st.
had full staff, he would probably have enough in his budget to cover for the rest of the year. That's something I'm gonna have to calculate out and get with
That's
Bruce
what I'm
about.
saying, I'd like to see that number before you do that, because you still got 2 openings on top of what we just did. So you're really giving him,
Well, one of those openings is going to be this new position, so that would just leave one.
No. This is a current
no,
public
that is
defender.
not the way it was presented.
He's a current public defender.
So you're gonna continue to keep
He'll
your
have 2
PD
openings.
staff that you have, the 10 positions, and this is a newly created whole new position?
It would be moving a current PD
Right.
Which I understand that,
To-
but I'm going by staff count.
to full-time.
So we have 11 PDs, a chief deputy PD, and the managing public defender. It was my understanding that one of the public defenders is now gonna be called whatever,
It'd be a full-time.
and then you would be down to 10 regular PDs, 2 full-time PDs plus you.
Yeah.
So your whole total count of employees isn't gonna change.
That's correct.
That's correct, okay, that's what I was thinking, okay.
This person's no longer
Yeah,
here.
that's fine.
He's no longer, so there's 3 openings, and then he filled one.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that, I'm worried about count.
Gotcha.
so that we have the salary ordinance correct with the correct amount of PDs, correct amount of full-time PDs. Okay. So
Yes.
are we all on the same page with that?
Yeah, I guess, if I'm understanding correctly, this, what I presented was not going to happen today because I entitled it additional
That's correct.
appropriations rather than
Yes,
transfer.
yeah.
Okay.
But what was to be
We need to make a.
done is the increase to the
Yeah, we just-
managing public defender salary of that.
Yeah, from the
small amount.
183,168 to 183,513.
Right, and retro to January 1.
And if I could, that's not something that, that I initiated. This was something that Indianapolis had notified us about that had to be done, or we were going to be out of compliance.
Yes. I think we've all seen that one in the packet, and so the chair would entertain a motion regarding this pay increase from 183,168 to 183,513, effective January 1.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to take that adjustment from the letter and make the change to what you presented.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lemming.
Second.
Second by Mr. Cadell. Do we have any discussion, further questions regarding that? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Elliott. Next item on the agenda, we have Grant County Health Department. Dr. Brenda Woods. Yep.
Present on Dr. Woods' behalf.
Yes, thank you.
So we have a request for appropriation for 2 items tonight. We're asking, this is a fund that's just been sitting idle since the COVID testing clinic shut down. It's money that's just remaining from that. And we're asking to appropriate $3,000 of it for an electronic embosser for our vital records division. They produce more than 7,000 vital records a year, bring in $100,000. Every single one of those documents needs to be embossed. The electronic embosser is at end of life, and they're back to having to hand seal a lot of them. So we're asking if we can appropriate $3,000 to replace that piece of equipment. Do you want me to do both of them, or do you want to do them individually?
Sure, you can do both of them.
Okay. The second request is for $27,000 for a lead paint analyzer. It's, in 2022, Indiana legislation lowered the level of blood lead in children that required lead case assessments. So for every child by age 2 has to be, their blood level has to be tested. Anything over a point, I think it's 4, gets reported to the health department, a lead case investigation has to be opened up. Part of that investigation is to go into the home and do an analysis of the home. Right now, we're subcontracting that out of a firm in Indianapolis, or, I'm sorry, Fort Wayne. It's $650 for that initial assessment, and then when remediation has been completed, they have to come and do a follow-up assessment. If we purchase this machine, we already have staff that is lead assessment certified. We can save that $1,300 on each lead case. In 2024, we had 34 lead case assessments. The state of Indiana was helping us with them until May of 2024, and they said no more. You were given HFI funds, so now you have to handle that yourself. We currently have 22 active lead cases open. So we feel like this is money well spent. It will save us $1,300 minimum. We've had one child, we've had to go to their home, their father's home, grandma's home, and their daycare. Still can't find the source. So on an easy case, it's $1,300. On a tough case, who knows how many places you're gonna have to test before you figure it out.
And so if you have that contracted out, it's $650 per location that they go to
It's
test?
$1,300 per location, the initial assessment and then the follow-up
follow-up.
after remediation, yes.
So like in that case, then if they had 5 different places that they went to, I mean, you're looking at $7,500,
Yes, yes.
$6,500.
Where with this machine and our already trained staff, we don't, I mean, there is no cost.
Anybody have any questions regarding this?
Tara, I have one question. The fund that you're wanting to use, does the spending fit the fund requirements so that we're not going to get in trouble later?
Yes, just public health.
And so is there anything else being spent out of that fund? I mean, is there something, some reason we have extra money there from?
Well, I was saving it to build a new health department, just to be honest.
All right.
I'm kind of giving up on that idea.
How much money's in that fund?
48,000. There are several little funds like that that we're trying to clean up and wrap up. That one has 48,751. Is that what you have?
If we were to buy this machine, you receive $650 per assessment?
No, it's $650 that we don't have to pay. It's Green Tree Environmental that we currently use. It's $650 that we don't have to pay out for each assessment.
We're gonna save the contracted
Okay.
funds.
Okay. It's not actually.
Not an income producer, I guess, kind of like the first piece of
Correct.
equipment's an income producer.
Right. And we could contract out to other health departments at some point and start charging a fee, but I don't, that would take an employee out of office all day, and I don't know that that would.
That's
We'll
not the
talk about
purpose
that
of the
down the road.
request, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes once we get the machine and just stop spending the money. And
What type of longevity or warranty comes with this machine? How long can we expect it to last?
15 to 20 years is what we were, because I did ask that question. I did not include the entire email conversation about it.
Is there any ongoing maintenance, calibration, anything involved with it?
No, interestingly, this machine's fairly new in this field. Originally, the XRF machine, which is what is traditionally used, is like a $47,000 machine, and every 2 years it has to be recalibrated and tested. But this one has, no, it's what our assessor that is licensed now, it's the machine that they recommended that's very, very new on the market. That
This time the chair would entertain a motion regarding an appropriation. This is saying a total of $28,000 for this. Is that correct? Okay. From the COVID testing fund number 8908.
I'll make that motion, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brinkle. Second by Mr. Lemming. Thank you. Any other questions or further discussion? Any questions, discussion from the public? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a Grant County Recorder, additional appropriation from the Recorder's Perpetuation Fund. And Ms. Boyd's unable to be here, so I would request that we would suspend the rules of her being present to make this presentation. I believe that the information is in our packet. And this is, again, coming from the Clerk's Perpetuation Fund. Of course, I can't put my fingers on it right now. There it is. And it's basically a service agreement in order to do further scanning of documents.
You know how much is in that fund by any chance?
Cash balance, $361,666.
Thank you.
There's $125,000 out of that fund. Is the request.
We got to vote once to suspend the rules and then the second time.
I think so. The chair would entertain a motion to suspend the rules related to this request from the Recorder's Perpetuation Fund.
Make that motion.
All right, Mr. Caudell makes the motion, Mr. Looming second. Any comments or anything regarding the suspension of the rules? Anything from the public? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same sign. And now regarding the actual motion of the request for $125,000 from the Recorder's Perpetuation Fund. Chair will entertain a motion regarding that.
Make that motion.
All right, Mr. Looming. Thank you.
Second.
Second by Mr. Caudell. Thank you. Any questions or further discussion regarding the Recorder's Perpetuation Fund $125,000 service agreement? Anything from the public regarding this? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, we have Mr. David White.
Asking for additional funding for the highway department for calcium chloride, or commonly known as road salt. What we did at the end of the year, we ordered like 300 ton, and we actually sold 150 ton to the city of Marion because they were unable to get any. We've already received our money back from them, and so it's basically went back into the cash balance. And we spent a little bit more than what we budgeted last year, so we're back full again. So that's what I'm asking for, the additional $38,020 to get that account out of the red. That's basically what I did on that. And then the additional $30,000 was for garage and motor. We've had some expenses that we couldn't do in-house that we've had to take back to dealerships and get repaired. So I just know that's probably going to take that much more to get us through the year, kind of thing. So. Should we go ahead and put the rest, or you want me to let you decide on those two things?
Yeah, probably on those two things, because that's related to the additional appropriation of the MVH fund, which is what we have on the agenda. Chair would entertain a motion regarding that request.
So moved.
All right, motion by Mr. Brankel to approve. Second by Mr. Lemming. Have any questions or further discussion? Anything from the public? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then you've got an additional request on here.
Yes, I had a position, gentleman retired last week ago, that had 38 years of retirement with the highway department. I'd like to fill that position. It's a truck driver's position. And then we'd like to also fill the assistant superintendent's position that we created a couple months ago. Just want to make sure that was all right. All this comes out of the MVH funding, so it's not really dealing with property tax, I can tell you that. So just making sure we're all right to fill those positions.
And so the retirement, then you would fill that position, and then the assistant superintendent position, not looking to promote anybody from within on that?
Well, we've opened it up to everybody. We did have some applicants a few months ago, but we put it back out on Indeed, and on the county's email, and we're gonna try again to see if there's some better candidates for it, so. But we'd like to get that filled as soon as possible. Of course, you know, this is our busiest time of the year, so we need everybody we can doing stuff, so.
So right now you're asking to fill the truck driver position, is that what you're doing?
And the assistant superintendent, if we find somebody for that position. I just gotta put that on there. I know with the hiring freeze and all that, I just wanna make sure that if we do find somebody, we can get somebody started on it.
Which it does kind of raise a question that I'll pose to Mr. Glickfield with a hiring freeze, and we open it up, then, I mean, I guess they would be free to do that, I mean, for a 90-day period or a 6-month period or something like that, I
If
guess.
I recall, the way the resolution was written, and when you look at the logic behind it, the logic behind it was the uncertainty of property tax reform through Senate Bill 1 and the availability of that revenue. Mr. White really is outside of that because he's talking about motor vehicle fund, which is funded from revenue besides property taxes.
Right.
So this really technically is covered by the resolution, but what he's asking for is not the intent of the resolution. So I think you're absolutely fine. I do think it's an important point to clarify because I'm sure you've seen some of the emails from some of the elected officials about the hiring freeze. The hiring freeze resolution simply states that an individual has to come in front of you, make their case for doing that hiring. It doesn't mean that the county council would not give them consent to do it if it was needed.
Right.
So it's not like no one can hire anybody if it's just they need to come and state their case and get your consent. That was the intent of the resolution, and that's the wording of the resolution.
Right. Effective July 1st.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So like I said, I just wanna make sure it's all right to fill those 2 positions. I guess we can make a motion or whatever.
Right.
Mr. Glickfield was saying, because I'm kind of outside with the MVH fund kind of thing, so.
Right. Yeah.
But I do think a motion allowing, if you so wish, would be proper. Even
Okay.
though technically he's outside the intent of that resolution.
Okay. Yeah, just to kind of make it clear, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The chair would entertain a motion regarding Mr. White's request to be able to fill the open truck driver position as well as to fill the assistant superintendent position.
So moved.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lemming.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hicks, thank you. Any questions or further discussion? Anything from the public regarding those items or positions? Hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda we have is the sheriff.
President, members of the council, thanks for having me here. Hope you got the updated ordinance that we're requesting. As we looked at that, we thought we would go with the most needed things. And this, I'm actually not even coming to you for money. I'm asking you to allow me to spend money that the inmates put in the commissary in hopes of saving the taxpayers some money. The state statute allows us to spend money on certain things with that commissary money. However, there's a portion of the statute that says anything that's not covered in that statute, there could be an agreement between the council and the sheriff's office to use that money for those purposes. So what we're looking at doing, after talking to the State Board of Accounts, these 3 items, we needed to have this ordinance made, which is a postage for indigent inmates. And basically what that is inmates that cannot afford to buy postage, envelopes, and paper to write letters to their loved ones. We're able to use commissary money to do that. Replacement of lost or damaged inmate property. That doesn't happen very often, but it does happen where someone's property is damaged while it's while it's put away. And we've had an instance where, or there's been instances where you'll have two guys with similar names and his property is given to the wrong person and we weren't able to find that individual. And then third, letter D, replacement of damaged county employee property. What happens a lot of times is, if you get in a fight with a guy or gal, sometimes our team members' properties can be damaged, watches, clothing, and things of that nature, and we want to be able to reimburse them by using the commissary fund. I'll answer any questions.
Do you have any questions regarding the sheriff's request? Not the chair will entertain a motion at this time regarding this ordinance establishing the approved uses of the Grant County Jail Commissary Fund.
I'll make that motion.
All right, motion by Mr. Cadell,
Second.
second by Mr. Lemon. Any other questions or discussion?
You need to assign it an ordinance number, which I believe is 1. 2.
I was
We have
thinking,
had 1 resolution.
I have one ordinance right now.
What was it?
It was back in February and it says additional appropriation.
So we are on 2.
ordinance number 2, ordinance 2025-2. All right. Any questions from the public or comments regarding the commissary fund usage? All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. If I could brief you on something just real quick.
Sure.
We are in the process of putting together an active shooter training for all county employees. I think it's been a while since that's been done. And the way the world is going today, we think it's important. So it'll probably happen at the courthouse, and then we'd also like to do one here in the annex. And it'd be something that would probably take 15, 20 minutes, but we think it's important that our team members for the county know how to react and what to do in case we do have an active shooter. So as we get that put together, I'll bring that to you guys so you guys can take a look at it and kind of see where we're going with that.
And, I just remember all these coming from, years in school. You always had the fire drills and things like that. So do you have things written up and everything for all of our county employees for the things for them to follow in the event that there is an active shooter within the building?
And we did a walkthrough at the courthouse a couple weeks ago, and it's been a long time since they've had it. I don't know if you guys realize that they removed the Alice buttons, so we're trying to get those, work with the commissioners to get those put back in place, because it's never going to happen until it happens. And we'd rather try to prevent it from happening instead of being one of those statistics that we're trying to do things after the fact. So I just wanted to bring that to you. I know we've already talked to the commissioners a little bit about it, and we'll put a plan together, present to both bodies, and see if you guys will approve that for us.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you. I think we got that ordinance, and I think it adds your signature as well. Next item on the agenda, I think we actually had removed this one for the salary ordinance. Correct? Yep. Okay. And then lit discussion, I don't believe Mr. Bates is here. So, all right. Next item on the agenda has to do with the Veterans Affairs. Let's move that. Rather than number 9, we'll do it as number 8, or ahead of it. It's kind of a positive thing. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us. We're not asking for any funds tonight. We just wanted to receive some funds into the county. American Legion Post 10, Sons of the American Legion is a subcomponent of that, and their treasurer is here, Jeff Bartell, to present a check to the county for the Veterans Service Office for our upcoming Veterans Appreciation Week and Veterans Stand Down, which will take place in October. This will be the first receipt of funds. We normally solicit funds throughout the community in the summertime for that Veterans Appreciation Week and Veterans Stand Down. And this is the first infusion of funds. So just wanted to have Jeff Bartell here representing American Legion Post 10 and the Sons of the American Legion, which is family members of veterans, to present that fund, that check for $1,000 to the county, and we'll entertain any questions that anyone here has.
I say thank you for coming tonight and thank you for that donation. It's much appreciated.
Yeah, so here's the check for $1,000. So again, I'm Jeff Bartell, so I'm with this, you don't need that part. With the Sons of the American Legion, so it is posted up on the hill. So this is something we do. So over the past year, we've given out over $90,000 worth of benefit to the local community. The majority is to our veterans, just like what we've done here. A lot goes to the veterans, the VA hospital, in terms of money, goods, and even entertainment. So we've got some people that are musically able. I'm not, but they do. So they go out and provide entertainment. So we do a lot for the community. And Gilead Ministries on the whole cancer side, Grant County Cancer Services, because I don't know how many veterans are out there that don't have issues with cancer. So we are a big supporter of those. But again, that's over $90,000 worth of benefit. So this $1,000 is something we do every year just to this organization for the Veterans Stand Down team. I would like to say that if there's anyone here that can help us in one aspect, when they took out the bridge down there, we got hosed. Between the city, the county, and the state, it was not marked properly. It was not managed properly. So the 18-wheelers came in, when they come down the hill, if you know where it's at, they tore our parking lot. So the city rejected us. We were part of the Pride District. We got rejected because we were outside the city. Even though we're in the district, the map showed it, we got discounted on any help. It's going to cost, we're talking, anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000 per parking lot. The county said it was a state problem. State said it's a county problem. So if there's anybody here that can, help us in this effort to try to get it rebuilt, because what we're trying to do is keep, delivering to our communities that we really support, instead of having to redirect our funds towards a parking lot. That would be great. So if anybody can help us out there, I'd really appreciate it.
All right.
Feel free to reach out to me.
Where's this at? I'm unaware.
Pennsylvania, street, headed out towards the VA.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right on the hill, can't miss it.
Oh, you're talking about post 10?
Yeah,
I
post
got you.
10, absolutely. Yeah, so we had a car show this year, so I want to thank Sheriff Garcia if he's still here. They brought the MRAP and the tool truck and all that out there, and it was a big hit for the kids. I really appreciate that. That's one of the fundraisers that we do, is the car show. It's 100% donated back to our veterans, people with cancer, and the kids with special needs, especially the terminally ill children. We've given thousands to those in this community. It doesn't go outside this community. So I just want to thank you guys for hearing us out, and
Thank you for the check.
thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
for the check.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate your time.
All right. Next, we have old business with the commissioners and Mr. Middlesworth.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
First things first, I just want to let you, make you aware that we did make our appointments to the RDC, and our three appointments are Tim Street, Victoria Herring, and myself that will represent the commissioners on the RDC. And I'm here to ask for your two appointments to the RDC, and if we could have a motion and a second to appoint him to the RDC. The first meeting will be within 20 days. Statutorily, it's 30 days. So, and I know I believe I seen an email. Do you guys know who that you're appointing?
I don't at this point, so I'm going to have to appoint him in July. So, yeah.
Okay, normally we could just appoint the ones that are not here.
That's true. You could do that if you wanted, but I figured you wanted willing
Okay.
people.
I'll just move on. I know Mr. Bates still hasn't got all the information regarding lit. However, I think it's appropriate for just take a little bit of your time. Obviously, the Grant County Council needs to take action on a few important things regarding local taxation to support some key public initiatives. I mean, you know, the correctional rehab tax, the county council has the authority to impose the correctional rehab tax at a rate of 0.2. As you know, this action does not require the approval of the tax council and must, in order to move forward with any jail project, we must take action on that to support it as far as funding. And so anything that develops at the state level, it's not going to affect whether or not we need to move forward with the 0.2%. The other thing I wanted to bring to your attention, the public safety, the PSAP tax, public safety access point. I know many of the members are new and may not understand how PSAP was formed and how the function of revenue that comes in to support that. And so I did find a contract for the PSAP for Jonesboro. It's the interlocal cooperation agreement between the county and Jonesboro. There's one identical to this for the city of Marion and Cass City. As you can see, it's dated August the 13th, 2019. That agreement was for 10 years. At the end of the 10 years, the county would take full responsibility financially to support the central dispatch. So I just want to make clear that you know that the county council must adopt an ordinance to implement a PSAP tax. The tax must be set, this body, the county council, can set it to a maximum of 0.1, again, on their own without going to the taxing body. It'll have to be done, you know, by the end of the 10-year contract. And so, like, again, I've also provided you with documentation regarding the 0.2% for the correctional rehab tax, as well as the language from the DLGF regarding the PSAP tax. I just wanted to make that clear that those are two known knowns that at the end of the day will have to happen if one, if we want to support a jail project, and two, at the end of the 10-year tenure with Central Dispatch. And so I would ask this body to either move forward under the guidance of Mr. Glickfield of preparing those documents to get the ball rolling as far as, you know, the public hearings and the ordinance resolving those two increases to lit. Do you have any questions?
The central dispatch, I guess this agreement with Jonesboro, then you're saying it evidently was dated August 13th, 2019, so their payment continues until 2029?
Correct.
Okay.
And obviously, you know, you'd have to have the tax implemented a year prior.
You know the other years that these agreements were signed, like for Marion or Gas City,
Yeah, they're all the same, all the same time. I thought that'd be good information for the new members to have.
So there's, after that, in year 2029, there's no renegotiating with.
I mean, that would be up to this body to renegotiate, but at the time, it was not on the table.
So that agreement was with just the three cities, it wasn't with like Upland or, okay.
The three contributors, in a sense, that were provided, you know. So I'll move on. The commissioners did approve moving forward with VW Construction to fully design the new jail facility. We did implement a cap at $60 million. The design phase is being funded with ARPA dollars, which, you know, is American Rescue Plan dollars. I did include the scope agreement in your packet as well, so you should have it from VW on the phase 2 scope. again, I just want to reiterate, there's going to be, once the design is complete, the county will have full ownership of the plans, and we will be able to explore multiple bid packages for the construction phase. Obviously, it ensures flexibility, cost control, and transparency. So moving forward, but I just wanted to make you aware of that as well. Is there any questions regarding?
Us being the finance arm, the $60 million, assuming that the project comes in at that amount, how are you proposing that would get funded?
Yeah, so obviously that the funding mechanism that has to be in place to fund the projects, the correctional rehab tax at the 2/10. And so once we have the data to know what that would generate, then we'll be able to determine, what our all-in cost is. And like I said at the last county council meeting, I mean, it's going to be up to this body to determine what the max is. And that's why I made it clear that the 60 was the top end, and that we're going to have multiple bidding options, multiple selections of, this costs this, pick and choose, so to speak.
Okay. And the $60 million number, their understanding, what all will that include? Will that include then anything with adding on for juveniles being housed at that facility, or what's their plans?
Yeah, I said, we won't know the full scope of the design of the 60 million until we complete that phase 2 of the project. I mean, obviously, we talked about last month, there's a lot of contingencies built in to what they've been presenting. I know that we're hearing some good things about contractors being slow with other projects and different things. So if we could do a competitive bid process, we might get the costs down even more. But at this point, I think that we just got to wait and see what the actual designs come in and what the costs are going to be.
But you're proposing that we would start moving forward with perhaps a 0.2 increase, not really knowing where that project could land or what we would actually do.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, the 2/10 has to be in place to fund any project of any size, right? And so even though we're moving forward with the plans, we're going to have the flexibility to scale back.
Okay.
And so I know, Mr. Kitch, you haven't been through that process, and I know it's going to be cumbersome. And so, obviously, you have to work with attorneys, and, there are deadlines. And I know Mr. Harper was working on, what are the timelines as far as submission to the DLGF and different things. But I think that we don't want to drag our feet. And if we do decide that we don't want to do anything, I don't want to continue to waste my time. I value my time and the county's dollars. And so if it's something that's not going to be on the table, I mean, obviously we're going to have the plans, but I think we got to be cautious of not wasting dollars through the design process, if that makes sense.
Sure. Anybody have any questions or comments?
So I'll move on some higher notes. We did start cleaning the courthouse.
Yeah.
And we got Mr. Spitzer's courtroom cleaned. We started on the second floor, cleaned the carpets, chairs. And so we tackled that last weekend. We're moving down the hallway, obviously. It's going to be weekend projects. The maintenance did install a few new toilets on the ground floor, done some cleaning. We did receive an estimate to redo the stairs on the courthouse that are cracked and crumbled with an epoxy coating like we've done in the courtroom. We also received an estimate to do the ground floor and clear down the ground floor in the courthouse.
Where the tiles are now.
Where the tiles are. I believe it come in somewhere right around $32,000. And so we're still evaluating that. And just know that we got a great auction thanks to Mr. White out the highway. And so I commend him for putting that together. I believe the county took in around $29,000 And so again, thanks to Mr. White and everyone that come out to the highway auction. That's all I have this evening, sir.
I've got a question, just because somebody sent a funny email about that, the toilets, you had mentioned them, were those donated?
Yes, Charlie Poling donated roughly 60 Mansfield toilets to the county. And so again, thanks to Charlie Poling for doing that.
Oh, that's great. Those are
So if anybody wants
expensive.
to make any more donations, we entertain, some flooring and some other things as well, but no, we appreciate any donations we get.
Absolutely, yeah. Super.
Any other questions for me?
I don't.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we talk about the lit real quick?
Yes, we sure can.
Ramifications of that and
Yeah.
deadlines. I have talked with Mr. Middlesworth, and I talked with Mr. McWhorter earlier in the day with him, with his former employment. You know, I kind of consider him an expert on this whole process. And there's 3 different areas that you need to look at. President Middlesworth mentioned 2 of them, which you could do on your own, but the 3rd one requires the tax council involvement, and that's where we become under the gun very quickly. That's the property tax replacement credit, examining whether you want to reduce that or not. And Mr. McWhorter had suggested he thought those numbers were coming anytime from Mr. Bates. They're not quite there yet, but he and I talked potentially about maybe even having a special meeting to discuss this where you're focused only on this. So if you decide you want that ball rolling, we can get it moving quickly. So we even discussed maybe having a special meeting. He thought it should be in place by the end of June, which is coming up pretty quick. So I don't know if you would like to consider maybe having a special meeting next Wednesday to discuss this. He was hoping Mr. Bates would have the numbers to help you make the decisions that you have to make by then.
And it would be a meeting that we could have, and perhaps if we decided to move forward, notify at least the Department of Local Government Finance. But then if for some reason we decided not to do that, then we don't. But at least if we don't notify them, we can't do it.
We're getting to a point where if you want to have public hearings on it, you've got to get the advertising out quickly.
Right.
And, that's just a decision you have to make whether you want to, just because you begin the process doesn't mean you have to actually do it, but you have to have public hearings to consider it. And there's timeframes, those have to be done.
So just so I'm clear, you're talking about having public hearings for a potential lit tax increase. Is that what you're talking about?
The first 2 items can be done by you guys by yourselves. They do not involve, and when I say that, the PSAP issue and then the 20 cents for the jail issue.
Yeah.
Those can purely be done. Now, those would need to be done this year, but you're not so much under the gun on that. I would suggest certainly if you get to a point you want to consider that, then we advertise for all your hearings are public, but a special hearing for that where public could come in and give their input on that. The 3rd issue, which also affects the bottom line, is the property tax replacement credit, whether you want to lower that or reduce that percentage. And that's the one that requires the tax council. And if you're going to do that, then notifications have to not only, according to Mr. McCourt, there's a 30, if you decide to do it, then the ordinance has to be sent to the DGLF, and they have 30 days to review it. And he said they'll take most of that time. And then once they approve, then it's got to be passed on to the other bodies for them to consider. So obviously all that takes time. And he just recommended that, and I agree with him, that if you want to look at that, you probably need to have a meeting where you can get the numbers and then decide if you want to proceed with that shortly thereafter.
And that would basically be to attempt to make up the shortfall for what our budget might have, that Mr. Bates doesn't exactly have the numbers nailed down for what. I
Yes,
mean,
that's
but
correct.
it's keeping the option available though.
And to think about what he's saying, the dates, you're at the end of June, and we do budgeting in August. And we gotta stay on track with 2 other boards, basically, to make all this work. So by not having it next week, we pretty much are
Yes.
shooting ourselves in the foot, so to speak.
So if you need us to set a date, then is that what you're asking?
Well, I would suggest, and based on my conversation with Jim, and he agrees that, we try to have a meeting maybe even next Wednesday. So hopefully, or whatever you can get together, but we can get it advertised. We have enough time for that, and it's just a very important issue.
Even if you, in your mind, you're thinking we don't wanna do it, and that's fine, you still wanna see the numbers to make sure that you're proving yourself out. Yeah, that's what I thought, I don't wanna do it. Versus on the other side of it, if we should do it, it's such a process, we have to get started on a process, we won't make the deadline. Is really what it comes down to.
That's exactly right.
Then can we set a date for next week, you think?
I think like next Wednesday at 6 o'clock, then we should have a special meeting specifically related to
I'll
this
get
item.
that advertisement put together, and I'll get that to Angie ASAP.
Cause everybody's closed tomorrow, pretty much.
Sure.
And then, will Mr. Bates, you think, be available? Is that-
Jim thought he might have it ready, and I don't know whether he's in contact with him or Angie is, whoever is, will.
So those are big deals when you come up with those questions, you're like, well, what if we do this? We raise it point 1 to point 2, what does it look like? He usually has that on tap and he can just show us, this is what it looks like. So we know closer to what we're talking about.
Right.
I mean, honestly, he's really good with that, so.
And if you'll recall, we were going to do it last week, but he didn't have the numbers ready, so we killed it, or you guys killed it the
Right.
week before that. Yeah, it just
Yeah.
wasn't ready yet.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, I
You'd
think
like
we'll,
me to proceed to get okay, I'll get that taken care of.
yeah.
Thank you.
And we'll schedule a meeting then for next Wednesday, June 25th at 6 PM. Yep. So everybody that's here, if y'all will come back. Hopefully we'll have 2 more members here,
Yes,
Mr. Scott, Mr. McWhort.
he will definitely be here, he said.
Okay.
He'll be back Monday.
Okay, all right. Anybody else have anything related to committee reports, communications, general discussion? Anything from the public for the good of the cause? Hearing nothing, I guess our next upcoming meeting is gonna be next Wednesday, June 25th at 6 PM. That'll be a special meeting discussing funding, which would then have to move forward to the tax council and also be approved by the DLGF. And after that, then, our next regularly scheduled meeting is Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I want to thank American Legion Post 10 for the donation. Appreciate that. Appreciate you guys coming tonight. And again, everybody be careful out there with all the excess water, tree limbs, and everything else. And with that, entertain a motion to adjourn.
It's just courthouse.
All right, motion by Mr. Brankel. Second by Mr. Lemming. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We'll close. Thanks.